Welcome back, family, to the South Florida Recruiting Report. Marcus Benjamin here representing for Rivals on 3, Rivals.com, South Florida Recruiting Analyst for the website. Of course, you can see all of my work on Rivals.com, mainly focusing in the state of Florida and South Florida. And we're here in the off season, and it's actually National Signing Day today, but it certainly doesn't feel like it anymore with the early signing period. But we're always going to talk recruiting here on the South Florida Recruiting Report. And here to talk about just what's happening in the offseason. Now, I've got Andy Villamarzo, who is the reporter for Rivals High School, to talk about what he's seen in the offseason. And we'll kind of discuss what players are really kind of standing out here in the offseason and who deserves stars here. Thanks for joining me today, Andy.
Hey, thanks, Marcus, for having me on once again.
Absolutely. I feel like you and I we're probably the hardest working guys in the business here, just kind of pumping out stories, talking to kids. It's kind of a never ending, job for us, but we love it. And this is what we do. So you've been around. I saw that you've been at a 7-on-7. I think it was a pylon 7-on-7, if I'm not mistaken. And at other places as well. I've been at Elite 11 regionals, 5-on-5. I was at Battle for a little bit. And, most recently I was at the football hotbed 7-on-7. But for you, let's start with you, Andy. What players are really kind of standing out here in this offseason and deserve some love?
Well, the 7-on-7 I got to get out to, the FHS 7v7 Association over at St. Cloud High School. It was I don't know how cold it was down in South Florida, but it was a frigid day. So kudos to all the kids get out there and parents and coaches that just were able to overcome that. I mean, I know for Floridians, when you're getting into the 30s, might as well be talking like it's negative temperatures in Florida. So, but when I was out at that 7-on-7, quarterback play obviously is what's highlighted in those passing tournaments. And some of the kids that stood out to me, I mean, the household names are obviously the ones that come right to mind. I mean, Champ Wonderful Mons was himself, as always. The 2027 4-star was, what passes can he not make? I mean, he can make those intermediate throws. He can make the ones over the middle, the deep balls. I mean, Vero didn't end up winning it all, but Champ, every time I see him, I feel like he's, looking a little bit more muscular, just looking every bit of being one of, if not the top quarterback of the 2027 class. So, others that stood out, Jeremiah Latier out of St. Cloud, 2028 kid. Really like his size, 6'3", about 220 pounds. He's got a couple offers from FAU and Sacramento State. I think he's somebody that, I think he's kind of flying under the radar. I really like him. Kevin Verpal out of Merritt Island, Pitt commit. He's one of those. Yeah, he's another one of those, you definitely know of him. You know what he can do. He even played a little defensive back at the 7-on-7. So that was kind of interesting because I think I saw him a couple times last year and didn't really see him. Elijah Nickerson out of Lake Nona. They ended up winning the entire tournament. He transferred over from Winter Park. He's got some interest. He's another 28 kid. Tall kid. I think he's about 6'3", 6'4". I mean, closing in on probably 200 pounds, maybe more on the lankier side. But, he showed good ball placement and, ability to kind of read the defense well. Thought he was impressive. Trey Kelly out of Southlake. Undersized, but he's been just really good. He's just one of those kids you would say he's a little taller. Like, he would have a lot of offers his way. Blake McCullough, the nephew of former NFL tight end Greg Olson, now the Fox NFL analyst. He played very well for Bishop Moore. Andrew Chung from West Orange, really like him.
Too.
Yeah, Chung is just one of those very efficient, can make all the throws, runs the offense very well. Definitely a kid that last couple of years I've seen, I've been impressed with him. Last time I saw him was against Venice in the playoffs. Didn't end well, but I mean, he showed you why against a really good defense, why colleges are interested in him, and they're giving him offers. And I expect him in the next 2 years to really continue to develop. But those were some of the guys. Bryson Marbury from Lake Howell's another one as well. He did really he performed really well at the tournament.
Yeah, I like Bryson Marbury as well. Saw him at the Elite 11 regionals, as well as Kevin Raphael. I thought those guys were pretty efficient, kind of throwing the football. As far as quarterbacks are concerned, 7-on-7 is kind of like a quarterback featured event for me. Of course, you kind of get to see wide receivers and DBs and one-on-ones really kind of fight for one-on-one balls. So that's always kind of fun to see as well. But I do want to talk about a kid that's absolutely blowing up in recruiting, and that's Davin Davidson. You and I, we've been kind of on him before he kind of blew up in this last month here. I wrote 2 stories before the new year about Davin Davidson, so I was well aware of his prowess as a quarterback. But now the world is now knowing just kind of how good this kid is and what his upside can be. For me, I just thought he was has really good footwork. For me, I thought he had the strongest arm of all the participants at the Elite 11 regional, and he also won the accuracy challenge as well. So, and he's a 6'6" quarterback who can run. So he basically kind of has everything you want in a quarterback. So, well, what are your thoughts on Davin Davidson and his potential ceiling?
I hate to be that guy that's like, everybody wake up. But I mean, a year ago, I saw him at a random spring practice. I just went over to Cardinal Mooney, was able to watch their practice, and I see Davin. Didn't really know who he was at first, but after a couple throws, I mean, it really didn't take me long to just identify. I mean, he's a dude, and they have a quarterback on their team, or had, because he's going to graduate now. But Devin Mergenery, who committed to I believe Cornell or like an Ivy League school, but he helped Cardinal Mooney win the 2023 Class 1S state championship. And then you have Davin there in the spring. And I mean, for Coach Jared Clark, I mean, what a decision you got to make. You have your quarterback who helped you win a state title, and then you just have this rocket launcher, arm of a quarterback and Davin there. And it's like, I was going around telling people, Davin's, I mean, at least to me, he would be the starting quarterback for this team if you just don't add in the state championship win with the other quarterback. And I mean, everything you just spoke of are the things I saw in that practice. I mean, velocity, accuracy. I mean, obviously you look at him and you're like, physical specimen with his height.
Right.
And I mean, everything just jumps off. And I kind of was surprised that he wasn't getting any attention in that spring. Or I got to see some of the film with him against Clearwater and Mitchell. Now, obviously, those aren't your, I guess, like St. Thomas Aquinas and Chaminade's, but they're still really good football teams, high school football teams. So I thought that film, he looked really he jumped out at me. I mean, the throws that he's making in practice, he's making in that spring scrimmage, and translated into last season, helping the Cougars win the Class 2A state championship, and I think it's really no surprise. I think the South Suncoast region has some of those players. I know we're going to kind of touch on some guys that may be deserving of, getting some stars, but I guess to start off that, I think he's one of them. I think he's got to be at the top of the list. Kids that, I mean, he's getting all this love, and I know everybody's seeing, his talents. I think he's somebody that probably is deserving of at least minimum 3 stars.
You said a minimum of 3 stars?
Minimum. I mean, he got it. I don't see any stars by his name. I'm like,
for me, it's a minimum of 4.
well, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself. I wanted you to kind of give that, and then, hey, I back that 4 stars. Yeah. Absolutely. That wouldn't be something I would hear and go, oh, that's too high. Like, no, I mean, to me, going from none to at the bare minimum, give him 3. But yeah, I think he's a 4-star for sure. Just because of everything we just entailed about him. He's as good as they come. I think, like, for everything I said about Champ Mons and how strong his arm is, I think Davin's there, like right there. I feel like his arm strength is there with Champ's.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how the 2027 class kind of plays out as far as the rankings are concerned, and if Davin Davidson jumps Champ Mons eventually, that's going to be a storyline to kind of see down the line, because Davidson has gotten plenty of offers lately from North Carolina, Miami, Florida, Georgia, Auburn. A bunch of teams have kind of recognized just how talented this kid is. So it's going to be interesting to see if he kind of bolts up the rankings as the top quarterback here in the state of Florida for 2027, especially with Champ Mons, of course, reclassing for 2028. So yeah, he's definitely one of the attention getters that I guess you could say that I've seen here in this offseason. I did have a chance to go to a 5-on-5 tournament as well, where I saw Jamar Thompson play very well, the West Boca defensive tackle. And I think there's a chance that he could possibly be a 5-star as well, just because of how big he is and how quick he is off the ball. He's got amazing speed. So I think he has a chance to maybe gain some stars here. I think we already have him as a 4-star, but he's trending towards maybe possibly being a 5-star guy. It's certainly if he kind of continues to fill his body out the right way. West Boca's got a couple of guys who I think are deserving of some recognition as far as recruiting is concerned, with Javion Harrington and then Wilshire Joseph as well. That West Boca team, I think, is not going away at all. I think that they're not a 2-time wonder, I guess you could say. Can't say 1-time wonder anymore. So I think that's a team definitely here to stay. And, that's one of the guys that I think we should start, maybe looking at as, adding more stars, Jamar Thompson. Any other guys that for you that you may have seen in this offseason that you think should deserve more recognition, star ratings, or an extra star?
Another player that I think has kind of started to blow up and was somebody I got to see during the regular season, and I think his stock has continued to rise this offseason, is Port Charlotte's Elias Pearl. I've seen him kind of start to get some offers, and really just seeing he's got Georgia and Ole Miss, Syracuse, USF. I feel like he's somebody that he's currently got no stars. I feel like, once again, probably bare minimum 3. I mean, he could be working his way towards 4-star status. Got to see him against Venice, and I thought he had one of his best games of the season against them. I I think that's something to take into account, just playing one of the state's better defenses and having a day. The South Suncoast, I feel like, is kind of filled with these kind of, I guess maybe a little overlooked because they don't get to. We know South Florida is where a lot of the best high school football is played on a weekly basis, but I think Manatee and Sarasota and Charlotte counties, it's kind of producing a lot of these names that like Dorian Jones, the running back for Venice. I know he's got a handful of offers, and I think UCF or USF just offered. He's been their kind of their bell cow the last couple of years. He shared carries with Gata last year. Going into the state championship 2024 season anyways. So this past season he carried more of the load. I think he was injured a little bit, but he got back into it and he was still over 1,000 yards. So he's somebody I think probably would, be deserving. Here's a kid to watch out for, and not that I've seen him this offseason, but did get to watch some of his film, and he's starting to think he just got a Marshall offer, and he's starting to get some offers under his belt. Is Wiregrass Ranch quarterback Daniel Terry, class of 2028 kid. He's starting to get some buzz around him, and he's a good dual threat. Obviously coming from a kind of a quarterback tree where the Bulls have been starting to produce some quarterbacks over the past few years. You got Rocco Beck, obviously went to Iowa State, now at Penn State, following Coach Campbell. Luke Knight, he was at Jesuit, then went to Merritt Island, then Wiregrass Ranch, ended up going to Army, and then you have Daniel Terry here. So I feel like kind of I don't want to call Wiregrass Ranch a quarterback factory, but I mean they're starting to produce some good signal callers in the last few years. So when you're looking at kind of the Tampa Bay area and maybe kids that are not quite, maybe as heralded as some of the others down in South Florida and Orlando area, I feel like those are some kids that kind of jump out at me. Keelan Hendricks from Lakeland, I don't know where he would kind of factor in as on the next level. He seems like more of an athlete than a quarterback, but he plays quarterback for Lakeland. I feel like he's one of those kind of twitchy guys. Like you could put him somewhere and he'll make plays for you. Like I don't know what position ideally would be for him though on the next level. It wouldn't be quarterback, but he's an explosive athlete. I think he showed it against St. Thomas Aquinas in the state title game because he had over like 120 yards rushing. So he definitely showed he's got some wheels. It's just you put him at receiver. Is he just a specialist? Is he a running back? Like, what is he?
Yeah, definitely, man. Watching highlights of Elias Pearl here, just really explosive, gets open and just catches everything. Really a shame that he hasn't been rated as of yet. Like it's kind of shocking, and now a lot of teams are really kind of recognizing, what is over there at Port Charlotte. Besides Logan Flaherty, who was obviously committed to UCF. He's got recent offers from Georgia, Wisconsin, UCF, Louisville, Iowa, Virginia Tech, Ole Miss, and it just keeps kind of going. I know Ohio State is interested as well in Elias Pearl, so that's a guy I'm excited to see at the Rivals camp. Hopefully, we get to see him and get some one-on-ones against some of the top DBs in the country. There certainly is some good DBs in the country, and one of them who I think doesn't have any stars yet is George Harris out of True North. This guy, he's just really knows how to play football really well. He's just one of those guys who's just a good football player. He can play linebacker, can play safety, can play corner, can play slot receiver as well. Apparently, he's going to play all those positions this coming season for True North. So he's definitely a guy that I think that deserves some recognition, some star ratings. There's a lot of schools also involved with his recruitment, including Auburn and Louisville, USF, Syracuse is also interested in George Harris. So he's definitely a player that I think deserves star rating, and I'm sure he will within the next update that should be happening by the end of this month. Another player for me is Cecil Smith. Cecil Smith is a running back from down in South Dade area, played at Homestead, played True North, and is going to be with Columbus this season. Columbus just loading up everywhere. They got Kai Moore and also Amir Sears as well. But Cecil Smith, running back that I saw at the football hotbed 7-on-7 over the weekend, he was definitely all over the field on both sides of football, getting interceptions. I believe he led the team in interceptions. Now, this is a running back, like I said. So that gives you an idea just how athletic he is. But he's a smaller guy, I will say, just like a lot of top running backs down here in South Florida. Maybe not as big in stature, but big when it comes to making big plays in big-time games. So he's definitely a player that I expect to kind of shoot up the recruiting boards as the rankings as well. That's Cecil Smith. But now let's just talk about the big-time guys. I mentioned one of them, Amir Sears, 2028, top corner in the country. I think he has a chance to be a 5-star guy. I also think that Nick Lanier, a wide receiver, now at Carroll City High School, was at Miami Northwestern. I think he also has a chance to be a 5-star guy when it's all said and done. Nick Lanier plays well on both sides of the football. He can be an elite safety or an elite wide receiver should he choose to play either position. Those are two guys for me that kind of jump out that I would say deserve 4 stars, 5 stars rather, at some point in their recruitment. Any guys for you that you think, hey, this guy deserves a 5th star?
I want to say Caden Henderson from Jesuit. I think he's somebody he's been teetering on that. Last time I saw him was in that battle at Bryant Spring Classic last year against Lakeland. And I mean, the way he just shot through the gaps, now was able to get through running back blocks and get to the quarterback, but just shows incredible versatility at the linebacker position. Really is kind of that new hybrid type linebacker that could really back in the day be a strong safety, but now because how you need to be able to cover guys out of the backfield and over the middle. I mean, he's everything you want in your present day linebacker. So I mean, has the speed, has the strength, has the power, has the ability to cover. Just somebody I think is all around on the high school level. He's a 5-star guy at the linebacker position.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think he has the intelligence as well. I think at the linebacker position, you gotta not just kind of make plays, but you gotta know where to be and kind of tell your teammates where to be as well. And he's that type of guy. As you can see here on this highlight, you can line him up out of outside. Look at that speed and ferociousness just to get to the quarterback. And he can cover in space as well. So I really like, what I saw from him at that. I'm so glad that I went to that Port Charlotte Jesuit game and over Thanksgiving weekend just to see Caden Henderson and, Elias Pearl, both of those guys, just outstanding talents. Hoping to see both of those guys at the Rivals camp coming up. The Rivals League camp, to remind everyone, is February 15th. Also, the Combine, you can earn your way to the Elite camp by attending the Combine on February 14th. So, definitely show up if you can. And, you may see some love from us on that Valentine's Day as far as analysts and, get invited to the Elite camp on that Sunday. So really excited for that weekend at St. Thomas Aquinas down here in South Florida. So that is really kind of some of the guys that I think are really kind of making a name for themselves here in the off season. Still plenty to go in this off season, Andy. So I'm excited to kind of see who else really kind of shows up and shows out here at camps, UA camps, 7-on-7s, 5-on-5s too. 5-on-5. I really enjoyed the one that I attended at Archbishop McCarthy a couple of weeks back. Energy for 5-on-5, Andy. Have you ever attended a 5-on-5 before?
I've seen at the FHS camps or the passing tournaments, they do kind of like the 5-on-5s where it's just lineman challenges really, but I haven't been to, I think, a specific 5-on-5 challenge. So to me, that's something I need to get out to. I'd love to see the big boys and see how they all kind of handle going up against each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely would invite you to, attend one of those for sure. One other topic I did want to talk about. I know you're very close to this topic, and that's St. Francis and IMG. They scheduled a game again for the 2026 season. When I saw your tweet, Andy, I thought to myself, did we do this before? Did this happen? Was this in my dreams or something? But of course, IMG and St. Francis did not play. They were scheduled to play, but did not play in 2025, and now they're scheduled to play in 2026. So, Andy, just your thoughts on the game that never was, and the fact that they're scheduling this again. Excited, confused, your thoughts?
I mean, excited from the perspective of, hey, we all wanted to see it, right? It was going to be respected as the national championship game. Anyway, it was put on, whether it was held at IMG, whether it was hosted by Overtime on national TV. I think that for everybody to kind of get that taken away from them and not be able to see that happen was obviously disappointing. And the person who voiced the most disappointment towards this was St. Francis Academy head coach Masai Halamarian. He was let's just say he was not pleased. I'm actually trying to pull up his comments here because I spoke to him, I think, that morning, or they had made an announcement that previous evening here, and yeah, there you go. You're pulling up the tweet. I'm pulling up the. Okay, so when the game was officially canceled, which was in November of last year. I mean, this is the quote from him. I mean, I got this from him over the phone. He said, "The word disappointment for me is really not as important as how disappointing it is for our players. The quote unquote, the players get the opportunity for the first time in history. We're the number one team in the country. We get to face somebody that's a formidable opponent, really play or at least compete for the opportunity to be a national championship. And IMG Academy decides to walk away from something they knew way before this date. So what we had planned, what had been processed, and they can't give any excuse. And that's what it's called, an excuse. It's exactly what they tell the world about people to them, about not wanting to play them. But I think it shows you that money, resources can't necessarily buy team chemistry, and it creates for an environment that's not worth sending your child to. I'll be honest with you, because for them to make a decision based on their success as an institution as opposed to the success of the young people that are willing to compete, for me, it makes me think twice about having to put our kids in that in these types of situations again, which I think alluded to, I don't know if I want my St. Francis Academy Panthers to play IMG ever again, because I don't know if they're going to pull the rug from underneath me. So I thought for sure this game was in trouble. Like, this matchup may not happen in 2026 just because of the events that ended up happening. Now, fast forward, IMG's season was effectively over after they canceled that game. St. Francis ends up finding an opponent. Corner Canyon steps up, goes to Baltimore. St. Francis beats them 37-20. Is crowned the overtime national champions. And I mean, I feel like they probably just were able to say, hey, we ended up being crowned national champs. IMG obviously is a team we've played year in and year out. It's a rivalry. Why not? You know, he told me his kids want to play the best. They want to play IMG. Sounds like IMG's, you know, like there is no location set. I think his hopes are that IMG realizes they kind of owe him one and they'll come up to Baltimore. Don't know how IMG folks feel about that, but you know, obviously that's for them to figure out. My thoughts are, hey, get your popcorn ready, get your flights booked, wherever this is going to be at. I mean, for me, it's just a little car drive over the Skyway Bridge, and in Bradenton I am. So I would love it. I hope it happens. I hope that there is no backing out by either side. I don't want to just single out IMG. I mean, I don't think St. Francis backs down from anybody. I mean, I think Coach Hallamarian makes it pretty clear to me, especially in our phone conversation earlier this week. They're not ducking no smoke. I mean, they want to play the best teams. And he's told me some national programs that he's tried to schedule that have, declined. And I'll just say, man, I mean, hey, and I know everyone's like, oh, well, they get all the top players in their area and this, that, and the other. Well, be it as, as it may, they load up, but they are also trying to play the best teams. It's not like they're picking on anybody that is not of their size. It's like they might be a big bully, but they're trying to fight other big bullies. So I give them that. Like they're not trying to beat up on teams that are lesser than them. They want to play the best teams.
Yeah, that's what you like to see. I was excited to see that game scheduled last season. I was considering going up to Bradenton to watch that game. To find out that it was canceled, I was extremely disappointed, in that decision. So I was a little surprised to really kind of see that it was scheduled again. And I'm reading this from your story here. His quote of his reaction. He said, from an emotional standpoint, I thought it was extremely disrespectful at the time. So by the grace and mercy of being a Christian, I don't hold grudges. Time does heal all wounds. It's always a very competitive matchup and always a great opportunity for St. Francis to play IMG. It would be a disservice to both programs to not play each other every year. I totally agree with that statement. Like teams like these need to play each other every year because it's of no use of you destroying, no disrespect to, I don't know, Fletcher in Jacksonville, but that's not the type of team that you want to play. St. Francis. You want St. Francis playing Modern Day or St. John Bosco or South Lake Garrow or just these major national programs, and you kind of want to see that every year so you can feel like whoever is ranked number one at the end is the true number one champion. But what I think, Andy, should happen, I think they should have like a Final Four, like how they should for like the top team from each region of the country, you would say, like one from maybe the Southeast, Northeast, West Coast, and maybe the Midwest, and have a Final Four of some sort. The top rated team from each region, plays each other Be awesome if it was neutral sites, but even at their own home stadium would be fine as well, whichever team was rated higher. And then playing an actual national championship game at a neutral site would be absolutely awesome. As big as college football has now blown up with the playoffs, expanding from 4 to 12, and who knows how many teams in the future, it creates a lot more attention to the sport. And I think high school football is kind of on that path as well, especially with a lot of these players being really good at really young ages. 2028s are outstanding, and 2029s are out here balling. So you might as well kind of see them at an early age and see them perform, because that's going to be video that you'll love to see, kind of from the past going forward. So hopefully we'll see that in the future.
Yeah, and I know that's something that's being kind of rumored around, that there's plans or there's ideas and concepts out there to try to do a high school football national playoff. That's something that obviously would excite everybody, because you would, for the first time ever, have something that where you'd have like a semifinals and then a national title game. I think it's just the things that come to mind for me that make it kind of problematic is like, how are these teams selected? For me, like being the crazy man I am, and I'm driving around, I'm flying around, seeing all these teams, I'm kind of like, you got to feel like those teams are worthy of being on that platform and being one of the final four, and not feel like the game might have been kind of just given to them because they were the best available versus like actually being one of the best. I would rather it be, okay, if we're going to have this, you get the 4 best teams in the country. Last year, and no kind of slight at overtime doing what they did. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great event. St. Francis, I think, is definitely deserving of being named a national champion, but I would have much rather seen them play like a Buford. I think that would have been an absolutely dynamite game. IMG, same thing. That would have been something I think a lot of people could have respected and said, you know what, winner of that, national champion. Instead, I think you had a lot of people respect Buford Carrollton more as a national championship game because of the 2 teams going into it undefeated, top 5 practically for the entire year. Each team had probably no less than like 25 prospects on it that had to have Division I offers. It kind of had everything outside of, neither team has really been challenged outside of their own state lines. So I think if Buford would have just won their state title and then played St. Francis, I think that would have been the ultimate, like, here you go, here's your national championship game, and let's see how this goes. And instead, Corner Canyon plays them, and I don't think Corner Canyon's a terrible opponent at all. I just feel like they didn't have the horses to keep up with St. Francis, and not a lot of teams do. I mean, we saw Chaminade, obviously. I mean, Chaminade usually steamrolls everybody, and probably for once in our lives, we saw them get steamrolled. So it's like, hey, St. Francis is no slouch for anybody, and if you can stand toe-to-toe with them, you could probably stand toe-to-toe with anybody in the country.
Absolutely. Nobody stands toe-to-toe with myself or Andy Villamarzo when it comes to recruiting here in the state of Florida. Maybe Larry Bluestein, but that's our guy too.
Larry.
Yeah, for sure. So, Andy, thank you for joining me once again on the South Florida Recruiting Report. You can find Andy's work, of course, on Rivals High School platform. It's becoming the leader when it comes to high school football coverage. And of course, myself on rivals.com when it comes to recruiting, specializing in the South Florida area. Thank you for joining me once again, Andy.
Hey, thank you, Marcus, for having me.
All right, thank you. That's going to wrap it up with the South Florida Recruiting Report. Marcus Benjamin, like I said here, representing for Rivals.com. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Also share it, like it as well. Going to continue to bring you news when it comes to recruiting down here in the state of Florida. The Rivals Camp, like I said, coming up February 15th. We have the Florida Stars 7-on-7 coming up at the same time as this Saturday. And then there's a UA camp in Orlando planning to attend the following weekend after the Rivals Camp. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at BenjaminRivals.com. Benjamin Rivals on Twitter for the latest and greatest when it comes to recruiting. Until the next episode.